You might think you understand women, that you've seen every signal, every look, every tiny gesture, but you're only scratching the surface. There are truths hidden in her body, truths that most men completely miss. And the moment you realize them, everything changes. The way she reacts to you, the way she connects, the way she can't stop thinking about you. Notice how she moves when she's around you, not just her words, not just her smile, but the subtle ways her body reacts. There's a tension, a softness, a pull you might never consciously register, but it's there. Every slight shift in posture, every adjustment she makes, carries a hidden message. It's not random. Her body is revealing her attention, her hesitation, her curiosity, her desire, without her even saying a word. And most men never notice because they're too focused on the wrong things, the texts, the likes, the surface-level behaviors. Here's the harsh truth. Women are wired to give these signals to men they subconsciously evaluate as worthy. That tension you feel when she's near you, that's her way of measuring you, seeing if you're confident, if you're steady, if you're someone who can meet her on a deeper level. Some men call it intuition, some men call it chemistry. The reality is far more scientific, far more precise. Women feel vibrations, micro-expressions, energy shifts in ways men usually can't. And her body responds before her mind even speaks. Watch her when she's listening to you. Is she leaning slightly forward? Are her hands relaxed? Or does she subconsciously touch her neck or collarbone? These micro movements are not just random. They reveal how comfortable or tense she truly is around you. And here's the kicker. Tension doesn't always mean negativity. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes it's intrigue. Sometimes it's a subtle way of saying, I'm aware of you, I'm analyzing you, and I'm deciding if you're worth my attention. You've been trained to chase attention, to interpret words literally, but the reality is her body speaks louder than any conversation. A slight shift in her stance, a pause in her laughter, a tightening of her posture. All of it tells you exactly what's running through her mind. And if you can read it correctly, if you can respond with calm confidence, you step into a place very few men ever reach. You become the presence that she doesn't just notice, but feels at her core. Here's a secret most men will never understand. Women reveal more than they say, and the signals are subtle, almost invisible if you're not paying attention. That tension, that energy, that small reaction when you enter a room, these are her subconscious ways of communicating interest, evaluation, and sometimes even desire. And men who fail to notice it are the same men who get friend-zoned, ignored, or left wondering why she changed her mind. But when you learn to read the body, when you learn to see tension as a map instead of a warning, everything shifts. You begin to understand her without her needing to explain. You begin to move her energy without manipulating her. And most importantly, you step into a presence that commands respect and intrigue automatically. So, if you've been frustrated, if you've been confused by mixed signals, the problem isn't her, it's the way you've been trained to see her. Most men only look at words, at actions, at surface-level cues. Very few notice the body. Very few can decode the hidden language written in the way a woman carries herself around them. And that's where the power lies, the untapped secret that can completely change the dynamic. It's time to start seeing her differently. It's time to learn what tension, energy, and subtle body signals truly reveal. And once you do, you'll realize that you've been missing a language that's been right in front of you all along. There's a moment every man experiences but rarely recognizes. The moment a woman's body reveals the truth before she ever dares to speak it. You've seen it before, but you didn't know how to interpret it. That slight stiffening when you get close, the shift in her breathing, the subtle way her shoulders lift or settle, most men brush it off, thinking it means nothing. But it means everything. Her body is a battlefield of instinct, emotion, and evaluation. She isn't reacting to your words. She's reacting to your presence. And that is one of the most revealing things about female psychology. You have to understand something deep. Women read men faster than men read women. They pick up on tone, intent, confidence, and emotional stability almost instantly. Their bodies respond even before their minds fully register what they're feeling. That's why her movements around you matter. If she becomes more still, she's processing. If she becomes more animated, she's opening up. If her body becomes slightly tense or alert, she's noticing you in ways she didn't before. This isn't manipulation. This isn't game playing. This is biology, raw, unfiltered biology. Her subconscious wants to know if you're a man she can trust, a man she can relax around, a man she can be emotionally safe with. And that safety doesn't start in her heart or her mind. It starts in her body. When a woman feels genuinely safe around you, everything changes. Her shoulders drop, her tone softens, her breathing slows, her guard melts without her realizing it. But here's what most men never realize. Women don't relax around a man simply because he's nice. Niceness doesn't create safety. Consistency does, presence does. Emotional control does. A man who isn't thrown off by her mood swings, who doesn't get defensive, who doesn't chase or beg or collapse under pressure, that man activates something in her that few men ever access. A calm man creates calmness in her. A grounded man melts her tension. And that hidden tension you see, it's not always discomfort. Sometimes it's anticipation. Sometimes it's her trying to regulate emotions she doesn't fully understand. Sometimes it's her body whispering truths she's too afraid to admit, even to herself. Women feel deeply, but they don't always reveal deeply. Their bodies reveal it for them. Watch her eyes. Does she blink a little more when she talks to you? That's nervous energy, not rejection. Watch her hands. Does she adjust her hair or touch her neck? That's subconscious attraction, not random movement. Watch her posture. Does she straighten when you enter the room? That's awareness, not coincidence. Men get so caught up in trying to say the perfect words that they forget something more powerful. Your energy speaks louder than your voice ever will. Your stillness, your calmness, your grounded presence, those things shift her entire nervous system. She can feel when a man carries himself with quiet strength. She can feel when a man is centered, focused, and emotionally stable. She can feel when she's in the presence of someone who doesn't need validation from her because he already validates himself. And here's the truth most men never hear. Women are far more sensitive to masculine energy than they admit. They'll deny it. They'll downplay it. They'll avoid talking about it. But their bodies never lie. Their bodies always reveal what their pride tries to hide. The question is, do you want to become the kind of man whose presence shifts a woman without him needing to try? Because that ability does not come from chasing women. It comes from mastering yourself, from calming your own internal chaos, from being able to hold tension without reacting to it. And when you do, every room you walk into feels different. Every interaction feels different. Every woman who notices your presence responds with a mix of curiosity, analysis, and emotion she cannot hide. There's a truth about women that most men never learn because they're too focused on what she says and not enough on what her body reveals. A woman's body is constantly negotiating with her emotions, constantly responding to the energy of the man in front of her. And the more connected she feels to you, emotionally, psychologically, or even subconsciously, the more her body will mirror that connection, not through obvious signs, but through subtle shifts you can only see if you're paying close attention. Think back to a moment when you were around a woman who genuinely liked you, even if she never admitted it. Remember how she would position herself slightly closer than necessary? How her tone softened when she said your name? How her body seemed to carry a kind of quiet anticipation around you? These are not surface-level behaviors. These are deep biological responses to the presence of a man who stimulates her inner world. Women reveal everything in tension and release. When she feels unsure, her body tightens. When she feels overwhelmed by interest, her breathing changes. When she feels safe, her shoulders drop. These shifts are small, nearly invisible to the untrained eye, but incredibly informative. They are the language beneath the language, the message beneath the message. And if you can learn to read this hidden language, you unlock a dimension of understanding that most men never reach. Most men misinterpret tension. They think it means discomfort, disinterest, or frustration. But here's the truth. A woman's tension often means she's emotionally invested. She's alert, she's affected, she's reacting to something deep inside her that she doesn't fully understand yet. Sometimes the body tightens because she's trying to hide how much she feels. Sometimes it's because she's afraid of getting hurt. Sometimes it's because she cares more than she wants to show. You've probably seen this play out before. A woman who seems perfectly confident around everyone else suddenly acts different around you. Her voice changes, her posture shifts, she becomes more self-aware. She might even seem a little nervous. That's not rejection, that's recognition. Her subconscious is responding to your presence, evaluating the emotional impact you have on her, and whether she likes it or not, her body broadcasts the truth. But here's where most men fail. They react to these signals with insecurity instead of awareness. They overthink, they chase, they push, they try to force clarity instead of letting her body slowly relax into trust. Women don't open up because you ask them to. They open because they feel internally safe. And that safety is communicated through consistency, calmness, and self-control. A man who is grounded doesn't need to pry. He doesn't need to pressure. He simply observes, listens, and maintains his center. And this steadiness has a magnetic effect on a woman. Her tension softens around it. Her body eases into it. Her emotions settle because she feels the presence of someone who isn't moved by fear or impatience. And here's something powerful. Women can sense when a man is emotionally chaotic, even if he hides it well. They feel when a man is anxious. They feel when he's insecure. They feel when he's trying too hard. Their bodies react with equal tension, equal hesitation, equal guardedness. That's why your internal state matters more than any external technique. You are teaching her nervous system how to respond to you. When a woman feels your calm strength, her body responds with openness. When she feels your emotional balance, her voice changes. When she feels your presence, not your performance, her walls begin to lower. Not because you convinced her, but because you created an environment where her body could finally relax. This is the secret most men never learn. You don't change her mind with words. You change her body with presence. You shift the entire dynamic, not by forcing connection, but by becoming a man whose internal world influences hers without effort. And once you understand this, once you see how deeply her body reacts to the energy you bring, everything about women becomes clearer, calmer, and far less confusing than you ever imagined. Most men make one critical mistake. They focus on what she says, what she posts, or how she reacts on the surface, while ignoring the silent language her body speaks constantly. You can have all the smooth lines, all the confidence, all the charm, but if you can't read her physical and emotional responses, you will never fully understand her, and that's where the real advantage lies, the ability to notice, interpret, and respond to subtle cues that most men completely miss. The truth is, women are wired to be hyper-aware of masculine energy. They sense it in ways that bypass conscious thought. Her posture shifts, her breathing changes, her gestures tighten or soften. These are all reflections of how she's processing your presence. And here's the part most men don't get. This isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness. It's about learning a language that has always been right in front of you. Look closely at how she reacts when you enter the room. Does she pause slightly, straighten her stance, or unconsciously adjust her hair or clothing? These micro adjustments are not meaningless. They are her body evaluating you. They are signals of attention, curiosity, and even attraction, often before her mind admits it. Most men misinterpret these as nervousness or disinterest. They overreact, they chase, they misread. But the truth is far more powerful. She is giving you information, a roadmap to her inner state, and all you have to do is notice. Another truth most men miss: tension isn't always a bad thing. A woman's body will often tighten around a man she's interested in because her system is processing emotion. This tension can be curiosity, excitement, or anticipation. It's not rejection, it's engagement. And here's the critical difference between men who succeed and men who fail. Successful men understand the value of patience. They don't attempt to force her comfort. They simply maintain presence, confidence, and stability, allowing her body to release naturally in its own time. Pay attention to her energy around you. Is it elevated, subtle, hesitant, relaxed? Each small shift tells a story. Women rarely say what they feel outright, especially when it comes to attraction or interest. They rely on body cues to communicate. The most powerful men understand this, and they don't try to rush it. They move deliberately, read keenly, and act with subtlety. This creates a magnetic effect, a pull that doesn't rely on words, texts, or gimmicks. It relies on energy and presence. And here's a secret most men never hear. Your own state of being is the trigger. Her tension will mirror your calmness, your grounded energy, or your lack thereof. If you are scattered, anxious, or reactive, she feels it immediately. If you are centered, confident, and self-contained, she cannot help but respond physically and emotionally. Her body begins to shift subtly, unconsciously, as she processes the fact that she is in the presence of someone who is steady, reliable, and strong, not by dominance, but by self-mastery. This is where the power of observation becomes critical. Every micro-expression, every posture change, every subtle gesture is a window into her mind. But here's the catch. Most men fail because they don't slow down enough to notice. They are too busy performing, too busy thinking about what to say next, too busy trying to convince her of something she doesn't need convincing about. True understanding requires quiet observation, careful attention, and above all, patience. And once you begin to notice, once you start seeing the patterns in tension, release, and body energy, you gain an almost unfair advantage. You no longer react to confusion. You no longer chase mixed signals. You no longer misinterpret what she's truly feeling. You step into a presence that she feels before she thinks, a presence that commands respect, intrigue, and subconscious attention. This is the kind of insight most men never get, the kind of awareness that transforms interactions from uncertainty into clarity, from tension into mutual energy, and from surface-level connection into something profoundly magnetic. Once you understand how to read her body, how to recognize tension, and how to respond with grounded energy, everything in relationships shifts. By now, you should be beginning to see the pattern. Her body doesn't lie. Her subtle tension, her micro-adjustments, the energy she carries around you, all of it is a reflection of how she feels on a level most men never reach. And here's the truth, few men are willing to accept. If you don't learn to read it, you will continue to be confused, frustrated, and blindsided. You will chase signals that aren't there, misinterpret curiosity as disinterest, and lose opportunities that were right in front of you all along. The power lies not in persuasion, in charm, or in clever words. The power lies in presence. Your grounded energy, your consistency, your ability to hold yourself without reacting to her tension. That is what transforms interactions. When you learn to embody calm, strength, and self-control, her body begins to relax. Her posture softens. Her gestures become open. Her energy starts to mirror yours naturally. And once that happens, everything changes. She feels seen. She feels understood. She feels intrigued, and she can't ignore it. Most men will never see this because they are trapped in the wrong mindset. They think attraction is built on words, dates, or external validation. They don't realize it begins internally, with their own emotional and physical presence. Women respond first to energy, then to attention, then to words. You can say all the right things, but if your energy is scattered, anxious, or weak, she will sense it immediately. Conversely, a man who is centered, patient, and strong creates an invisible pull that no surface-level tactic can replicate. Here's the secret that separates average men from extraordinary men. Attention to subtle signals is a form of mastery. The way she shifts her shoulders, the slight tension in her posture, the way her breathing changes, these are not trivial. They are hidden truths about how she feels, what she's evaluating, and whether she's emotionally engaged. And when you respond with calm confidence, you are giving her subconscious permission to relax, to open, and to feel drawn naturally. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's observation, understanding, and self-control. And here's the most critical point. This skill works whether she knows she's attracted to you or not. It works whether she's curious, hesitant, or even frustrated, her body will always reveal the truth of her feelings first, if you know how to read it. So what do you do next? You start noticing, you slow down, you pay attention to the small shifts that most men ignore. You understand that tension isn't always rejection, that subtle gestures are not meaningless, and that your own presence can shift her body and energy more than any words or gifts ever could. This is how you move from being just another man she meets to someone she subconsciously feels, evaluates, and cannot ignore. And here's the final exercise for you. Think about the last interaction you had with a woman who left you confused. Break it down. Look at the subtle shifts in her posture, her gestures, and her breathing. Imagine how your presence affected her body energy. Now, imagine how you could respond differently next time with calm confidence, grounded energy, and patient awareness. That is the difference between a man who chases and a man who magnetically draws connection. Here's a question for you. If a woman's subtle tension increases when you step closer, but her eyes stay locked on yours, what is she most likely feeling? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes to the hidden language of female psychology, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Mastering these signals is the difference between confusion and clarity, frustration and magnetic connection, ordinary presence and extraordinary influence. The knowledge is now in your hands.